Hello there and welcome to Kelly and Wrighty.
What you done with Kelly, bro?
She's away apparently this weekend. I get to chew the fat over what's been a reduced Premier League weekend. No Arsenal though. So did you get to chill this weekend?
Yeah, chill this weekend. It's nice, man. Yes, it's chilled. Get ready to go again.
Always chilled, right?
Absolutely.
Well, look, this is what we've got coming up today. Kevin De Bruyne was always going to be the hero. He turned the game around at Newcastle on his Premier League return and is now level on assists with Wayne Rooney. How ominous is that result for the title race?
Eric Ten Hag has promised to Jim Ratcliffe that he is the right man to bring the glory days back to Manchester United. They drew with Spurs and we'll look at which side is more likely to finish in the top four.
And Ivan Toney will be back in Premier League action this coming Saturday for Brentford after his 8-month suspension. He's a striker that a few clubs could do with, right?
Yes, there's a few clubs.
I bet there are. We're in the middle of a mid-season break, but there was still so much drama. Well, the player break means we had 5 matches at the weekend with wins for Chelsea and Manchester City and draws in the other 3 games. This weekend we've got Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Brentford, Nottingham Forest on Saturday. It's Sheffield United, West Ham and Bournemouth, Liverpool on Sunday, with Wolves heading down to Brighton on Monday. Well, Liverpool remain top of the table despite not playing, but will be worrying for the title chasers is that Manchester City have moved above Villa into second. Spurs are now level on points with Arsenal after their draw at Old Trafford. Newcastle dropped down to 10th. At the bottom half of the table, the 3 promoted clubs remain in the relegation zone, but Luton's dramatic late draw at Burnley means they're keeping pace with Everton in 17th position. Warm welcome to the programme. Great to have you with me. And Ian Wright joining us this afternoon. The 2 Darrens, Lewis and Bent. Brycey, did you not get the memo for the roll neck?
I didn't get the memo, man.
What's going on?
Sorry, bro.
You've let the team
One time in your career,
yeah.
get off the pace.
I'm jealous of the roll neck.
Looking at that fixture list, only Spurs, that's the only fixture I think to myself they would be able to hold their own against them. They don't have a good record away to Tottenham.
No.
And so that could be the one. But apart from that, all the rest of them, they could steamroll. Erling Haaland's been missing for 9 games. People forget that. And you talk about this run that they're on and the way that they're steamrolled teams, and most tellingly the way that they've come from behind, because I was fancying Newcastle when they went 2-0. They got those goals out of nothing at St James's Park, where they're normally strong, where not too many teams have beaten them in the Premier League so far this season. And yet the character, that's when you look at that title race now, the top 4, yes, mathematically Villa are in there, yes, Spurs are in there mathematically, but when you actually look at the quality in there, the capability to change games when the odds are against you, it's really only the top 2.
You know, the thing is as well, with Erling Haaland, watching his team still just beating teams, whether that will make him want to come back and prove I'm make sure I'm part of the team, because they can win without him.
Is that what happens when you're a striker and you see the team?
Yeah. When you are a striker and you're out with, you're injured, you see,
it's not as well.
You're injured. Anyone who says that you want the team to do well, do you want your striking guy to go and score the goals for them to do well? No. You want someone else to score the goals so as when you come back you could get your place back. You see, Erling Haaland now knows, and he's watching the team, and he's got the kind of manager, he knows, okay, you're going to be on the bench because these guys are doing okay. So Erling Haaland's going to come back, Manish, wanting to prove something more, like he needs to.
Does every striker have that element of selfishness about them?
Yeah, of course. You always, as Wright said there, you always want your team to do well, but whoever's playing in your position, you're like, hope he doesn't get one. You just hope one of the midfield players can pop up with a goal or something. Do you know what I mean? It's a really weird situation because you're watching the game kind of on 10 hooks thinking...
And you don't dislike them.
No, you don't.
You don't. Yeah. But this is the thing, you don't dislike them. It's more a case of they're taking your place. You know what I mean? And if you're out of the team, what's going to happen to you? You're just worried about that. But at the same time, you want it's like, you do play and you do really well. They take you off and then the guy comes on, scores. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm having a nightmare. Jealous of the roll neck vibe.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's roll the clock back to Friday. See what I did there? Burnley against Luton. This was a big game, wasn't it? 2 of the bottom 3, and there was a contentious ending to the game. Luton getting a 92nd minute goal, an equalising goal. Elijah Adebayo on James Trafford. There was a coming together. Some thought it was a foul and it should have been disallowed, including Vincent Kompany. But the referee on the pitch and VAR both said it's fine, it's good to stand. I think there's a case of strikers' union here with you, Ian and Darren.
I think the goalkeeper's got that completely wrong. I'm giving that goal. I'm sorry. I'm giving that goal. I think that the goalkeeper he's misjudged it. You know what I mean? Yes, people say that he's bumped into him and he's stopped him from getting there. I think his line of his trajectory was all wrong. They should not disallow that goal. He's using his hands as well. He can use his hands. He didn't even get off the ground. Look at him. Look. Watch him. Look. Look where the ball is and look where he is.
Yeah, but is Adebayo looking at the ball?
I'm just glad that they didn't disallow it, because I think that the goalkeeper's got that wrong.
Darren, you're sticking to your guns as well, aren't you?
Yeah, he's got to be stronger. I think as a goalkeeper, I think it's a classic case of goalkeepers now, they're protected. So even if they get the slightest bit of contact, they can go down, they'll think, do you know what? I'll get the foul. If he thinks to himself, do you know what? I'm going to go and claim this ball. I guarantee he doesn't go down. He could be stronger there, so I'm glad that was given. I know some people would probably say
we thought it would have been disallowed.
Yeah, but I'm glad it wasn't.
When they gave it, I said, yeah, good, yeah. Give that goal.
Yeah. I agree. I think goalkeepers are the most protected species on the planet. And the goalkeeper in that situation doesn't even really make an attempt to jump. He assumes the referee's going to blow as soon as he goes into the back of Adebayo. Ironically, had he stayed on his line, Morris would have just headed into his arms. So he makes all sorts of bad decisions and thinks he's going to be saved by the referee's whistle.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I suppose we'll know the importance of that decision come May. Those two teams, you know, will be hoping it doesn't come down to literally a point or two in terms of staying in the Premier League. Now, look, we're going to talk about Kevin De Bruyne, who also put in the standout performance in that incredible cameo. Before we get to that game at Newcastle, I want to know from actually you two, who were your assist providers? Who was the one teammate that you could always rely on to deliver that killer pass for you to put the ball into the back of the net?
I mean, early on, Darren Ambrose was a good one, but Danny Murphy's probably the one that stands out the most, because he was one of those midfield players that, even if he probably shouldn't try the pass, he'd still do it. He'd give the ball away five, 6 times, but he knows that one time he does give it to me, there's a chance of opportunity. So, yeah, Danny Murphy for me. Even this one here, there's not even a pass there.
Nice what a pass that is.
Yeah, there's not even a pass there.
Nice finish, Steve.
But it was one of those where, that game there I was desperate to play. I had a hamstring injury.
Wow.
But Sunderland were that bad, I thought, boy, I'm going to goals here. I said to the physio, listen, just whatever you got to do, make sure I'm out there. Even if I play 45, there's a goal coming here. Yeah, that was Danny Murphy. He was top quality.
Who would be your go-to?
I'd probably say, it's obviously my go-tos, but I can't sit here and not mention Paul Merson and Anders Limpar in my early days at Palace, but obviously Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah, of course.
You know, when he came, it just went, you know, it's the passing, these kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like in the space of like 10, 15 yards.
Record breaker.
Passing, you know, I didn't actually do it. I didn't actually do it on that one. Yeah. Took it off at the wrong time. But like, it was a case of the movement. He was so good with his vision that it'd make the pass. The pass would always be perfect.
See, I asked you about this before in terms of, do you make his mind up for me in terms of where you run, or does he make your mind up for you in terms of where he passes the ball into, in that he finds a space for you to...
I think that there's a combination of both of those, but the main thing is, what I found with Bergkamp and players like you mentioned, Danny Murphy, another really technical good player, is if they've got time, you can make the run. And you can make the run anywhere. They will get the ball to you. That's the main thing. But when you see like Dennis running through like he was, he's going to put that ball in with the right pace, no touch. He just finishes.
You see, I'm so glad you highlighted Bergkamp, because he is a beautiful footballer. And you know, of all the thousands of magnificent players to play the game and to score goals and to thrill us and be killers in front of goal in a sporting context, you have some like De Bruyne, Bergkamp, Berbatov, who, you know, they manage the ball, they caress the ball, they finesse the ball. They're the kind of guy that if there were 4 of you in a telephone box, they could find space to open a newspaper up and read it. You know,
they're beautiful on the ball.
They are so beautiful on the ball, and I think football doesn't have many of them. But when you see them, you see that they stand head and shoulders above everybody else. And when De Bruyne came onto the pitch I was with some other journalists today, and we were talking about where he stands in terms of the great midfielders in over the Premier League. 30 years or so. And he stands alongside any one of them, because when he comes on, he has an authority on the ball that allows him to try anything. And I can't think of too many midfielders who had a passing range that could find you wherever you are. You know,
I'd still have to throw Scholes in there. You know what I mean? But of course, De Bruyne, what he's doing. But I just have to Scholes.
Why Scholes?
Because in that area, Scholes could make any pass as well. His vision was unbelievable. You know, whether it's long range passing, short range, one touch, anything, inside foot, outside of anything. You know what I mean? We're seeing a different level as well. What De Bruyne is doing with the current midfielders around, I think he's easily the best in the world. But I think that when you look at Scholes' repertoire as well, Scholes is up there. I think them two are up there as the best ever in the Premier League.
You see, one thing I don't remember is Scholes.
And Patrick Vieira.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't remember Scholes ever being out for a particular length of time, like 5 months.
Yeah.
Like Kevin De Bruyne did this time round.
Yeah.
And yes, he got minutes against Huddersfield in the FA Cup last weekend. But to come on and turn a game on its head, which is crying out for a lock picker.
It's because he's great. He's what, you know, people use the term great so easily, Darren, but like the great players, like you mentioned it, they impact the game. Yeah. He's got great structure, but he comes on, and the great players, like again, it's 5 months, everyone's saying, when's he coming back? But the great, they come back when they're right, when they're ready, and it's no surprise that someone like Kevin De Bruyne could come on and do this, because that's what he does. That's what he's capable of doing.
And the thing is, the great players, you don't just hope they're going to change the game. They want that responsibility of changing the game. When he came on, you could see they had a free kick and everyone just stood aside and said, there you go. And he's like, yeah, that's right.
This pass here for Oscar Bob.
Magnificent. This is exactly my point. I was at the Etihad for the Manchester derby, and I saw De Bruyne put a pass. Honestly, it was like slicing through butter to find Erling Haaland at the far post, and he was able to convert it. And it's that range of passing that sets him above so many other. Look at this.
Do you know that pass is not even on? That's how good that pass is.
You know something? This is why. Look. And then what you got to understand is what the space. You can't even give him that much space. Right, in that area of the field, you've got to, if you are not, look at the amount of space Kevin De Bruyne has got. You are asking for, because you're underestimating the fact that he can do that. Listen, we've got to say something about Oscar Bob's finish. But at the same time, the accuracy, the precision of that pass is like, it's almost genius.
You know the best thing you could say about that pass? That pass is so good that the finish, which is actually exceptional, has had nowhere near the credit it deserves.
Well said.
That's his first Premier League goal for the 20-year-old.
Yeah, that was his special moment. The composure, the tackle that he rides, the goalkeeper oncoming, all of those things, and he manages to keep his head to slot it away on his Premier League debut, the match-winning goal.
You know, big players,
fabulous,
impact games, and are capable of doing that. And like you said in the intros, is the Man City ominous. You know, with him coming back as well, doing that. That's a goal out of nothing.
Yeah.
If you're an attacker in that team as well, every time he gets the ball, just make the run. You haven't got to worry about where the ball's going to end up. If it's the right quality, it will come exactly how you need it to come. And in that situation there, for Oscar Bob, as it drops to him, he could even have gone down because his touch was good.
Brilliant.
He got tackled, he stays on his feet. If you're Alvarez or Haaland, you're rubbing your hands together.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on the fact a little bit earlier. I mean, it's quite a notable goal in the fact that it's his 103rd assist in the Premier League, level now with Wayne Rooney, not behind Cesc Fabregas, which is amazing to think, really. But obviously, Ryan.
See that graphic, right? That's a really good example of. You know, sometimes they say you sometimes forget what somebody says, but you always remember how they make you feel, right? When you look at those 5 players, all magnificent players, and we know what they did. But De Bruyne, you remember how he makes you feel, you know, about the game, about when you watch him in action. Giggs was another one of those, you know, from 17 years of age. Obviously, Fabregas was a young teenager as well and did great things. But I look at De Bruyne and he's going to stand the test of time in the way he made me feel about football.
I spoke to him last season, and just about his range of passing. And we have seen players of that ilk, Gerrard and Lampard, Scholesy particularly, can put it on a sixpence. But it's not something you can practice in training, is it?
What with
delivering those passes at those angles with that pass appreciation and weight.
No, what it is obviously that's his ability. It's in him to do it, but then it's the work what he puts in to have the confidence to just go out and do it. You have to put the work in. You know what I mean? We've seen loads of players who are unbelievable technical footballers. You know what I mean? You only have to look at his journey. There's people who obviously did not feel that he was going to do what he's going to do or go on to do what he's done. But what he's done is he's constantly worked at what he has inside him. And now he's gone to clubs where the structure's right for him, and he can just then go and express himself and do his stuff. He's just worked on himself in being the best he can be. That's the great players owe it to all of us to do that. He's doing that because, like you say, just like Messi, they give you joy. When you watch Kevin De Bruyne play, you feel joy.
Yeah. I did the show on Saturday. Sean was with me, obviously Wrighty Jr. alongside Alan Shearer. Sean was delighted with the way, obviously, City came back. Shearer hated it, by the way.
I'll say a very quick story about De Bruyne. I interviewed him ahead of the Champions League final in May, and he told me this story about how when he was a kid, he would tear up his mum and dad's garden, when he was practicing with the ball. So, because I'd asked him, how come you're so good with your left foot? And he said, when I was tearing up the garden, wrecking my mum and dad's flower pots and beds and stuff, they said, hit with your left foot. Because they didn't think he would make that much mess, with his left foot. And he turns into be a genius.
Wow.
Left foot as well as his right.
Exactly. Ronnie O'Sullivan. They are coming, and it's scary. Because, like, Kevin De Bruyne is doing that, and then it's just as Darren just said, and Erling Haaland's got, and I thought to myself, Erling Haaland's got that. It's so ominous.
Haaland and KDB, we saw what that pairing did last season. They've been on the pitch together this season for 20 minutes.
Wow. They're going to come and want to make up for lost time because the 6 games in all competitions unbeaten. We know that they've got that 10, 12, 15 game streak in them. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have to look at you have to look at the Arsenal, Liverpool, the rest of the teams, Villa. How do you stay with that? It's coming. How do you stay with it? You're really stretched just to try and hang in there.
And what does it do to the rest of that City dressing room? Knowing that Kevin is back.
We can see the impact on the pitch because straight away when he came on, I mean, Rodri, for me, is the best player in that position in the world. Every time he got the ball, where's KDB? Where is he? Give it to him. And there was a couple of times where he made the overlap and he made cutbacks, right option, right weight, got blocked. He's just a top player that just commands respect. So all of a sudden now, with him being there, you have to say now, going forward, they're the favourites. And even though Liverpool will try and stay with them, we've seen Liverpool get to, 96 points and still not win the league. It might be one of those scenarios again.
Yeah. It was the way in which City recorded that win at St James's Park from 2-1 down at half-time to then go and win it in such dramatic circumstances. They've got a 13-day break from that fixture until the next game. And that's at FA Cup against Spurs. It's the perfect recharge, isn't it? To kind of just everybody consolidate where they're at as they try and go for what would be a record-breaking 4th league title in a row, Ian.
Yes, and the thing is that we saw earlier on in the season, Pep do his rally the fans, what's wrong with everybody? What's wrong with you guys? Are you not entertained? He done it. It's worked again. You know what I mean? You look at them and like the game coming, like it's an FA Cup game, so it's even got more time to bed De Bruyne in bed and to get Erling Haaland back, and then they're home to Burnley. You just look at the way it's starting to pan out for them, and it's just they're getting ready to just do what they do, get into like win mode, and it's up to people to try and catch them.
Points shared between Manchester United and Spurs, 2 apiece it finished. Marcus Rashford had an interesting celebration though when he scored to put United 2-1 up. Ian.
Yeah, it was. It went on for a while. He obviously wanted to get it out there. I don't know what it is, but he's obviously got a lot going on. We were talking. Me and Darren was talking about. I couldn't remember anything about just being exhilarated when I score. I ain't got no time for any kind of celebration like that. So it just says to me that he's probably got a lot on his mind at the minute. Yeah.
It's the first game that was played in front of the new minority shareholder, so Jim Ratcliffe, who was there. He saw his side with 36% possession against Spurs. 2 shots on target, of which they scored with both of them. What would he have made of that?
A lot needs to be done. You watch Manchester United now. I don't quite know what I'm watching. Are they a team that's better out of possession? Are they trying to be a team that dominates the ball? Do they defend deep? Do they high press? It's too individualistic. Is that a word? Is that right word?
Yeah, it is.
Where you've got Bruno trying to do his own thing, Rashford trying to do his own thing. There's no cohesion there in the squad.
There's no structure.
Too easy to play against. And Manchester United, I mean, when I used to go to Old Trafford, I knew exactly what I was going to get. They would dominate the ball for 80% of the time, create chance after chance after chance. And if I could get a kick, I've done well. But at the minute now, teams are going to Old Trafford and going, do you know what? we can get something from this game. And that never used to be the case going there, so they've got a lot to do.
The thing is, Manish, you watched that game the other day, it's the perfect start. Tottenham with the players that are missing should not be going to Man United and having 68% or whatever it is of possession and dominating the game. Because
when they're missing 5 of their front 6.
Absolutely, absolutely. You look at the way Man United started that game, it was perfect. The high press, the winning the ball back, scoring in 3 minutes. And then, this is where I have a problem with Manchester United and the fact, like you rightly say, we don't know what they're doing, is there's no structure to how they're going to keep that going, how they're going to continue to press. So they drop off and then they lose control of the game. And this is why Tottenham end up passing around, building confidence. In the end, they get their goal. You think to yourself, OK, let's see what happens in the second half. Second half they score as soon as they come out in the second half. The problem I feel that they've got is they don't understand the structure he's trying to give them, or he's not giving them the right kind of structure. They're not working on it.
What are they doing on the training ground then?
I don't know. This is why it's like Darren rightly said, you cannot work out what they're doing. Are they going to high press? Are they going to mid press? Are they playing as a counter-attacking team? You know, they've got someone like Kobbie Mainoo now, who looks like somebody who can control and manage the game. So they're going to have to put a lot more into him. But he's a young player. You need someone with him. But at the moment, Man United, at home, to Tottenham team, like I said, missing so many players, are playing counter-attack football. And at some stage, there's no way the fans are going to be saying, yeah, they're happy with that.
Well, this illustrates the fact quite perfectly, actually. Have a look at the passing from Manchester United. And this is a good shout from you, Ian, because I know this was something that you wanted to highlight. The passes between certain players on the field of play. You could see the numbers going in.
That's no
minimum of 8 passes.
Yeah, at home.
For Højlund, there you can see it's minimal, isn't it? Number 11?
Absolutely. Look,
there's nothing there.
Nothing at all. You know what I mean? You know, you're looking at Bruno, who's a creative player. You know, he's not got nothing from him. Look, you can just see it. There's nothing.
So he's getting nothing from 8, nothing from Bruno in 10. Have a look at Manchester City, because there's a few gaps between players there.
Spaghetti junction.
Everybody is interconnected.
And look how high up they are as well. And when you look at the Man United team and the way they're playing, you look at their map, everything is lopsided. It's on the left. You know, I don't know what's going on with them. They cannot activate, I should say, their right-hand side. They're attacking from, hopefully, a one-on-one situation where a Rashford or a Garnacho or someone does something special.
You know, when you're Højlund as well, and we looked at that pass back there, he's getting no service. That's what that tells me. Even his goal was a little ricochet, touched it and smashes. There's nothing worse or more frustrating when you're a front man and you're not getting the service. Rashford gets the ball wide. Is he going to cross it? Is he not? Garnacho will get the ball on the other side. Is he going to beat his player? Is he going to cross it? Because you're forever, you don't know what, you can never get timing.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, if Anthony's playing, on the right-hand side, he cuts in.
Yeah.
You know, if Rashford's playing on the left, he cuts in. When have you ever seen anyone really get to the line and try and flick one back to him or lay one into him or get it in that 10 area and slip one into him? You just don't see it, and we saw it there. It's evident.
When you look at the two teams, Tottenham are everything that Man United are not. And I don't think Man United's problems are going to be changed by someone coming in the transfer window. An individual player is not going to change it. They've thrown hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds at the problem and they've not solved it. It's the right manager. Postecoglou's got the warmth that Ten Hag doesn't. Postecoglou's got the identity with the style of play with Spurs that Ten Hag doesn't. Postecoglou has the discipline that Ten Hag doesn't. There are lots of players, Dyer, nowhere near it for the first half of the season, but you don't hear him saying anything. He's not disruptive. When he's called upon, he does a job. Højbjerg has wanted to go for months. But again, the discipline is on point in that Spurs team. And that Spurs dressing room isn't an easy dressing room to manage, because over the years there've been leaks like a sieve. They've had problems with the previous manager, and he called out their lack of mentality. And yet he's gone there and straight away established an authority there that Man United used to have. And it's never going to come back to Man United, I don't think, under this current manager.
You see, I think the signing of Timo Werner also encapsulates the difference between where the two teams are right now. Werner was linked with Manchester United, and the fans, the overall narrative was, he is not the type of player United could do with right now, because he's not a prolific goal scorer. They need a regular goal scorer. He misses chances, that's the kind of thing. Spurs, He's the type of guy with the pace and pressing, fits perfectly with Ange ball, and Ange also might have the man management skills to get the best out of
You know
him.
what's interesting about that? He reminds me very much of Pochettino. When Pochettino convinced the Spurs fan base that believed you had to spend big in the window, that actually you could rely on some of the players that came through the pathway, because he gave chances to young players. They came into the first team and they did well. Now Postecoglou is making decisions about players, and Spurs fans saying, we trust you.
Yeah.
Because you have an identity about the way that you play.
Yeah.
I think when Sir Alex left Manchester United, they said, well, we're never ever again going to give all the power to one person.
Yeah.
But actually, that's what United need. They need somebody with the authority that can command respect at all levels, from the youth team to the senior team to the management structure as well, because he works hand in glove with David Gill, and they got them to that place where they intimidated teams before a ball was ever kicked. Now, you look at City, they do that. You look at Liverpool, they do that. Spurs are moving in that direction to do that. United are not there, and that's what they need to get back, and you're not going to get it with individual players, managers who come and think they can make the step up from Ajax. It's proving too big for Ten Hag.
I think, Darren, when you look at some of the people that Man United are linked to for the director of football and the technical, you kind of are very optimistic about what they're going to try and do, because this is structural change for Man United. Because I think that that's what's going to have to happen. It's going to take a little bit of time. So you're hoping that Sir Jim's going to get those people to bring in the right people. But like, you look at Tottenham, and remember when we saw Emerson Royal playing centre half for Tottenham, we saw Davis playing Tottenham, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, this is crazy they play, because that is how he wants them to play. You know what I mean? We're saying, oh my, how can he keep doing this? Because he's got Van der Ven, who he's his pace man for if they're going to play high. You've got Romero, that if you do want to play out from the back, you know what I mean, just because they're injured, your team don't stop doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're saying, why is he continuing to play like this? Because that's the structure he's put in place. And we saw it with the goal, what they scored. Romero right from the back all the way through, because that's how he wants to play. Now, the problem Man United have, there's no structure.
I remember when you played for George Graham, right? And it was a very functional team, but everyone had their instructions. Everyone knew what they had to do. Bruce Rioch took over in the interim, and it was just all very fluid. And then Arsene Wenger comes in, and there's identity again. And people know when there's identity. Players know when there's identity. Fans know when there's identity. Journalists know when there is an identity, because you see that the club is building towards something, even when results don't go their way.
Is the job right now bigger than just Ten Hag?
I think it's because of the size of the
2
club.
wins in 8 in the Premier League.
It's Manchester United. It is big. It's massive. You know, and what we're seeing now for 18 months, is it, Darren? How long's he been there?
18 months.
18 months. And yes, he done well in that first year to get them to get into the top 4. They won a trophy. But like, there's no, what we've seen with Ange in the short space of time, what we've seen with Unai Emery. In that time. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, we even have to say, we've now seen a cultural change in what we've got back to with Arsenal. Man United, I thought that by now would have been in a structural place with the team and who they're bringing in. But we've seen with the signings that there's still like a scattergun kind of situation.
I don't know about you, but there is no such thing as the impossible job. Because of all the teams that you just mentioned, I remember the England national team. People used to say that was the impossible job. But you go in there, you've got the right management skills, you've got the right systems, you keep the players on side. Suddenly everyone wants to play for that team. Spurs last season, we were on their sofa debating Conte, calling out the players and saying that they're weak, and this is the history of their club. Now we got a completely different perception of Spurs because of a guy who goes in, puts arms around shoulders, has a clear plan, and manages up as well as down, as well as outwards to convince the fan base you can fall in love with this team again.
Last year, it paved over the cracks Manchester United, I think, by getting to the cup finals, they did, and winning the League Cup final. Almost people thought, do you know what, next season they're going to be even better. But people forget that last season, they still took a few hidings, by the way, where you go, for a top side like that, 7 at Liverpool and getting beat by Brentford, there were still signs last season, a couple of results where you go, well, hold on, that shouldn't really be happening. That shouldn't be happening. So it doesn't really, I wouldn't say it surprised me, but I thought they'd be doing better. But this season, as you said, they've reverted back to type where things are going wrong, individual players to do what they feel is right for the team to make them look better. Because everyone's getting hammered, you go, well, do you know what? Let me go and press him just so it looks good to the fans.
Yeah.
Even though it's not part of the structure of the team, but I'll get a little ripple for going to press. It doesn't help out the rest of the players. So, as I said last season, for me, just maybe put them in a place.
Can I
that
just
they're not
ask
really
just
at.
one last question to the
Yeah.
boys? I look at we're talking about arms around shoulders at Spurs. Sancho on Friday goes to Dortmund. Says he's looking forward to playing this with a smile on his face. Scores in the provides an assist in the 3-0 win over Darmstadt. 24 hours later, Rashford this weekend scores first time since last season.
7 months at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
He's still a good player, but in this system, everyone is saying, "Oh, well, is he all that? Is he all that?" And it's still there. That class is still there.
Yeah.
I saw Gary Neville over the weekend saying, "Good job, Man United didn't win the race for Jude Bellingham because he would not produce the kind of exhilarating form that he's producing at Real Madrid because he'd be sucked in by the Malays at Old Trafford." So, do you feel that there is that cultural problem that is leaving players feeling they can't produce their best?
Yeah, because you can't. None of the players since he's been there has improved. And you can look at Villa players. Remember he came in after Stevie. You look at the Tottenham players after Conte. These players have improved with the coaching that they're getting. Man United players are not improving. Actually, in actual fact, they're getting worse. I watched Rashford the other day. He looks like his decision-making, whatever his decision-making thing, it's off. He's got a beautiful goal, but it's off. I think that you look at Man United and just it's pure and simple. I think it's great that Sir Jim's coming in. He looks like he's very much a massive support. He wants to make change because obviously being a fan as well, you know what I mean? He could have done so many other things, but he's coming because he wants to put it right. And I think, again, if he gets those people, they will get, but it comes down to the structure on the pitch and the coach. Is that coach good enough?
Yeah, it's funny. You talk about identity and it finally reaping rewards. It takes a bit of bravery, does it not? We're even seeing Areola at Bournemouth coming in.
Yeah, but the only thing about that, though, is a different level of pressure. But going them at Bournemouth
that's
is
true.
still Manchester United is...
But he's had the courage
When
of
he
his
came in as well, he came in very quickly. Remember, that happened all very quickly.
He's had the courage of his convictions, and it is now coming good. But let's talk about Spurs, a bit like Oscar Bob at City and Kevin De Bruyne, slightly overlooked here. Yes, it was a 2-2 draw. Some United fans will be watching this thinking, why are they being so critical of Manchester United? It's not as if Spurs won at the end of the day. But you're right, because the pressure on United as a club is very different to that on Spurs. Richarlison got a goal, 6 in 6, which is as many as he got in his previous 46 games, by the way. So, despite having key players missing, Postecoglou is now starting to get a tune out of him.
Well, they play the exact same way as we said. It doesn't matter who's playing, the personnel they've got, they'll still get the same kind of rewards from the players that are playing, and Richarlison's one of those who's benefit from him. Like some managers might have gone, do you know what, he's not for me, push him to the side, but Ange understands that he needs him, and if you give any striker a run of games, eventually they will start to score, and he's stuck with him, and fair play to him, he's playing really well, he's a threat.
You know the thing with Richarlison, you've got to remember that the injury that he put off getting this operation, what he was meant to have on his groin, he'd done that for a long time because he's trying to please the club, he's trying to please the country. And in the end, he realised, like, he'd done the interview, the manager got his arm around him, he said, you have that operation. And a manager that has managed him, managed how he feels, managed his emotions, he was talking about mental issues and everything like that. It doesn't surprise me that he's got the goals he's got now. Because he needed that. He needed someone to come in, give him the arm around him, let him know we care about you, go and get it done when you're ready. And now we're seeing now, like I said, I think I probably said it on there, if they get those players fit and Richarlison's the 9 in that form, they're going to cause problems for teams. They're going to definitely make the top 4.
So let's round this off. Who's best placed to finish in the top 4?
Of those two teams?
Tottenham,
easily.
Yeah, it's not even a debate.
What two teams? You talk about Manchester United?
Yeah.
No, I'm having to put it. I'm having to put it out there.
You have to put it out there, but you listen. Man United, like I said with the fans, there's no way Tottenham is supposed to go to Man United with the players they had and have 60-70% possession. Man United have got a long way to go.
But should that answer be so one-sided after 18 months of one manager?
No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
No way. No way. And
of course,
why there's pressure on. That's why there's pressure on Ten Hag.
There has to be. There has to be.
Yeah.
There has to be.
I saw some naughty social media users saying how Timo Werner's now got more assists than Anthony this season.
Well, they're going to say that, and he has. It's a fact. It's a fact. You know what? Again, we go back to it. Timo Werner, who's not played there for I don't know how many years now, few years now, comes to the Tottenham team and looks like he's been playing there for the last 6 games, 7 games, because he knows the structure.
Yeah.
You could do that. So, I hope he does well. I really do.
Listen, I hope he does well too, and I agree with that. But I think when you're talking about elite football, elite club football, Anthony would not make the City side, the Liverpool side. If you look at Kelvin Phillips, honest player, good player, England player, European Championship finalist, can't get anywhere near the team under Pep because the standards are that high. Anthony with no goal involvements all season. He's still getting into the side. There is no consequences for underachievement or poor performance at Man United, and that's a big part of the reason why they won't be in that conversation.
Yeah.
911 minutes for a goal involvement yet to be seen.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video of PUBG Gaming। तो गाइस जैसे आपको पता है कि हम जो है वो अपना वाला PUBG मोबाइल ही जो है वो खेल रहे हैं, क्योंकि आपको तो पता है ये टाइम जो है वो गेम का होता है। तो हमने जो है काफ़ी सारा गेम भी खेल लिया, हम जो है काफ़ी सारा गेम जो है वो खेल चुके हैं, लेकिन अब जो है लास्ट में एक TDM जो है वो हम ट्राई कर रहे हैं। तो TDM का जो है अभी स्टार्ट हुआ है, जो कि मैंने अपना फेवरेट कॉम्बो उठाया हुआ है M4 एंड AKM जो है वो मैंने उठाया हुआ है। और हमारे जो दोस्त हैं उन्होंने किए हैं 6 किल, मैंने जो है एक भी किल अभी तक नहीं किया, जबकि रेड टीम वालों के हैं 3 किल और हमारे हैं 6 किल। तो हम जो है वो अभी भी आगे है, काफ़ी जो है वो आगे है, लेकिन पता नहीं कि आपके भाई से गेम नहीं खेली जा रही। 9 किल हमारे हो गए, लेकिन मैंने अभी तक एक भी किल नहीं किया। पता नहीं गेम जो है वो खेला नहीं जा रहा, ना लिविक वगैरह ना वो में जो है फिर भी हम गुजारा कर लेते, पर लिविक वगैरह जो है ये तो बिल्कुल जो है वो हमारे बढ़ गए हैं, इस तरह ही समझ लें। तो अब जो है लास्ट में हमें एक TDM जो है वो हमने रख लिया, और ये TDM ही जो है वो हम खेल रहे। तो 14 किल्स जो है वो हमारे हो गए, और 8 किल जो है वो रेड टीम वालों के। तो अभी तक जो है मैंने सिर्फ एक किल किया हुआ है, वो भी जो है मैंने असिस्ट मारा है दोस्त का, जबकि मैंने जो है ऐसे ही वो फायरिंग करना जो है स्टार्ट कर दी, तो बस डायरेक्ट ही जो है वो किल हो गई। इसमें एक प्लेयर है रेड टीम में जो कि काफ़ी अच्छा प्लेयर है, मुझे तो खुद अच्छा लग रहा है, काफ़ी जो है वो अच्छा खेल रहा है, कि उसका मूवमेंट से पता चलता है कि अच्छा प्लेयर है। सो गाइस मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में।